CTV News with Ricardo, Veneza.
We're going to focus on getting the best deal for Canadians. We're making progress. There's more to do.
The Carney government has made a controversial move to cancel a contentious tax that looked to be standing in the way of a trade deal with the United States. Good evening. Trade talks are back on with the U.S. as Canada looks to have the White House lift its tariffs. President Donald Trump abruptly calling off those talks last week over Ottawa's digital services tax, targeting American tech giants, set to come into effect today. CTV's Mike LeCouture reports.
Prime Minister Mark Carney says discussions between Canada and the U.S. restarted this morning after a call with President Donald Trump last night. But the way the Americans are framing it is very different.
It's very simple. Prime Minister Carney in Canada caved.
A blunt assessment of how it all played out from the White House. The two leaders spoke late last night, and then Canada announced it was rescinding the digital services tax. Carney said removing it was part of a bigger negotiation.
It doesn't make sense to collect tax from people and then remit them back. So it provides some certainty.
The DST was intended to collect tax from big tech companies that make money off Canadian users but don't pay Canadian taxes. Carney says the two sides will now work towards negotiating a full trade deal by July 21st.
The White House says you caved. Is that how it went down?
The Prime Minister wouldn't answer that, but the Canadian Chamber of Commerce applauds the move, pointing to the bigger picture negotiation.
$3.6 billion worth of trade crosses our border every single day with the United States. We can't afford to play with that. We need to make sure we secure that.
Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre believes Carney should have got something in return. Writing on X, in exchange, the Prime Minister should insist that the U.S. immediately rescind softwood lumber tariffs, adding, we need to make gains for our workers in these talks.
They forced the U.S.'s hand.
Michael Geist specializes in internet and e-commerce law. He says Canada needs smarter tech regulation than to just make web giants pay up.
We've too often looked at these companies as akin to almost like a policy ATM, where we're anxious to do withdrawals to help fund some of our policy objectives, but we haven't really factored in the costs associated with this and some of the potential negative consequences that might come about.
Now, rescinding the DST would require an act of Parliament, but the Prime Minister's office says instead of recalling the House, the government will simply stop collecting the tax until they can remove it altogether. Mike LeCouture, CTV News, Ottawa.
Meantime, the federal government has taken a historic step to support freer trade within Canada. Internal Trade Minister Chrystia Freeland announced in a news release today all federal exceptions have been removed from the Canadian Free Trade Agreement. That will enable Canadian businesses to more competitively compete across the country. All provinces and territories are reviewing their exceptions under that agreement, and the results will be shared at a Committee on Internal Trade meeting July 8th. This is part of a promise by the Prime Minister to remove interprovincial trade barriers by Canada Day.
We need more and better rail. We need more and better roads. We need improvements to our bridges, to our ports.
Legislation to remove federal trade barriers became law on Thursday, but trade and labor mobility is still limited by regulatory bodies across the country and provincial laws. Now, several provinces, including Ontario, Quebec, BC, Manitoba, and Nova Scotia, have all introduced or passed legislation to reduce those barriers. Premier Doug Ford is hosting his counterparts at a meeting July 21st through to the 23rd, and that issue could be up for discussion at that point. Well, Ontario's Special Investigations Unit has cleared an OPP officer of any wrongdoing in a shooting investigation on Walpole Island. Police received a call March 2nd about a man threatening people with a gun at a home, then fleeing in an SUV before officers got there. The SIU report says during a roadblock attempt, the man sped towards officers and the officer fired 2 shots at the SUV. No one was injured in that shooting. The investigation determined the officer fired his weapon, believing it was necessary to protect another officer. In Windsor now, police are investigating a pair of West End carjackings. The first from a home on Gerardot near Micmac Park. It was found abandoned in a ditch on Malden Road. About an hour later, someone unsuccessfully tried to steal a car from a Brock Street home just south of College Avenue, damaging the ignition of that car in the process. Investigators are asking everyone in the area bordered by Prince Road, Tecumseh Road, Huron Church and Millen Street to check any surveillance footage they might have to aid in that investigation. In LaSalle, police say a 31-year-old man was stabbed 5 times in the area behind Zares and Fresco around 2:30 this morning. Police say he is in stable condition in hospital and is expected to recover from his injuries. The suspect and victim are not known to each other, say police, but police are asking for anyone with video along Delmar Street around the time of that violence, again around 2:30 in the morning today, to notify investigators. After a temporary evacuation for a gas leak emergency in Wheatley last week, the investigation continues tonight, but the library where the issue was first reported is nearing reopening. The Wheatley branch of the Chatham-Kent Public Library may reopen as early as Thursday. The library closed as a result of that emergency response as crews raced to prevent a repeat of the 2021 gas explosion disaster. The municipality says if all goes well, the library could reopen for regular hours at 4 p.m. on Thursday. A thorough investigation of the property, of course, must take place first before clearing the branch to reopen. Well, Canada Day is on the way for tomorrow, and communities across the country will be celebrating the maple leaf and what it means to be Canadian. Our Michelle Molesky takes a look at the events commemorating the occasion in Windsor, Essex.
Business is booming at the Flag Depot.
This year we are selling more Canadian flags because of the situation we have for next door.
Owner Sunny Sadat says customers are coming in and snagging flags of all shapes, but leaving others behind. Like this once locally popular friendship flag. It used to fly off the shelves, with Canada and the U.S. celebrating so close together. Now, not so much.
I used to sell more, but I'm selling now is less. Yes, it is changed because of that gentleman.
Windsor's Canada Day Parade returns to downtown, stepping off at 11 a.m. from Olette and Giles. Lakeshore is also hosting a parade in the afternoon. Fireworks, always a big draw to local events. Displays are planned at dusk in Amherstburg, Harrow, Kingsville, Leamington, and Lakeshore. Meanwhile, LaSalle is going a different direction with a Canadian-themed drone show.
We just had the Strawberry Festival where we do a really large firework display, so we thought let's do something a little bit different, and they do something themed for Canada Day, so we wanted to try something unique, and I know a lot of our neighboring municipalities are going to do fireworks, so it gives people an option of what they want to go see.
Michelle Molesky, CTV News.
Lots on the go for Canada Day in Windsor, Essex. And for a full list of events and activities and links to their pages, you can head to our website. That's at ctvnewswindsor.ca, where you'll find all of them in Michelle's online coverage. Well, the province is relaxing rules that will see Windsor's roads among a select few cities to add boozy pedal pumps. The loosened framework takes effect tomorrow. CTV's Chris Campbell tells us why the move is being made.
Pedal pubs, those group bicycles that carry a dozen or more people from bar to bar, are getting an upgrade.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
Until now, drinking was only allowed at the individual stops or after the ride was over. But as of July 1st, riders in 4 communities, Niagara-on-the-Lake, Toronto, Ottawa, and Windsor, can enjoy a beverage on board, as long as the operator secures a license from the Alcohol and Gaming Commission of Ontario.
I think that'd be really cool, actually.
I think it would be.
Some kind of different activity, something fun to do in Windsor.
As long as there's something nice to do in the city and it's exciting and the driver's not drinking, it's great.
Pedal pubs can only operate in a community once the local municipality passes a bylaw allowing them. Windsor City Councillor Ronaldo Agostino says he fully supports the move and plans to bring it forward at the next City Council meeting.
Looking forward to seeing that happen. It's another cool thing to be happening in our community.
The province says the move supports Ontario's $32 billion tourism industry and is part of a wider effort to modernize the alcohol marketplace. Windsor-Tecumseh MPP Andrew Dowie, speaking on the Dan McDonald Show, says it's a step in the right direction.
Really what we saw here was a great opportunity to allow for more local Ontario product to be distributed. Local Ontario breweries, wineries, cideries, and other producers gives them a bit of another venue to sell our local products and create a destination experience for our community.
It is exciting news, like beyond exciting, to hear that they're finally going to allow us to serve alcohol as we've been waiting for this for about 3 years.
Officials at Petal & Pour in Windsor say they're excited about the change and hope to start serving later this summer. The city has the power to set specific rules like hours of operation and designated routes.
This is the government adding an experience that people are doing all over the place. I know people go over to Detroit all the time for it. It's a fun thing to do, to get a group of friends together, and it's a daytime activity. It's something different, and it'll be cool in Windsor.
Chris Campbell, CTV News.
Hey, maybe not a bad way to get some exercise as well. While Windsor is taking a swing at bringing a new sports team to town, the Intercounty Baseball League says the Rose City is one of the many interested in fielding a team. CTV's Robert Lothian has more on the work needed to make this dream a reality.
Windsor is looking to build on its reputation as a sports city.
With Windsor and its size, its interest in sports, a long history of just great baseball, we think is a good market to be in.
The Intercounty Baseball League, featuring players from across the world, is planning an expansion to 10 teams.
I think it's fantastic news. Windsor's always been a hotbed of baseball. I'm surprised that it hadn't happened prior to this.
Now, Windsor does have some existing ball diamonds, such as this one behind me here at Micmac Park, but retrofitting this for the IBL will take some work. The league has already said there will be a need for change rooms for players and umpires, as well as concession stands for fans. And of course, with attendance often reaching more than 1,000 people per game, they said there's also going to be a need for some added seating.
I think adding seating would be no issue, but maybe a few more of the amenities that you would need. And probably Cullen Field at Micmac Park would be the place.
Ward 8 City Councillor Gary Kashak says it's a discussion he wants to have at Windsor City Hall.
If they come in and have to have these facilities for their use for those number of games and practices and so forth, it'd be the demise of some of these organizations.
The Riverside Baseball Association wants assurances an IBL team won't affect field time for Windsor-Essex leagues. Treasurer Bill Kell says if done right, it can benefit the local game.
The Intercounty League, because of it would give them a lot of community profile, and then the minor teams, because now they have heroes.
Long-term, stakeholders hope potential success in the IBL will allow Windsor to swing for the fences.
In Windsor, there's a lot of people here who know a lot of people at the major league level that I certainly would probably love to have a minor league team here in Windsor.
Maybe getting an inter-county league team might be the prelude to that moving forward. How great would it be to be a farm team of the Detroit Tigers or have a farm club of the Toronto Blue Jays?
If successful, Windsor could see an IBL team take the field within the next 2 years. Robert Lothian, CTV News.
An alarming moment this evening as Environment Canada issued a mobile alert for a tornado warning in the London area. While the Windsor region sees scattered storms tonight, in one case south of Lucan, clear funnel clouds could be seen. Canada's weather agency has yet to confirm if the tornado touched down, but as of right now, there are no widespread reports of serious damage.
It was almost like a freight train, and I thought, what is coming at this house? So I turned and looked south. I saw the funnel and I heard it, and all the debris, all the old tin, everything was flying in the air. So I screamed. My daughter's home today, and I said, oh my gosh, honey, there's a tornado. I'm in awe. It hasn't really clicked that there's an actual tornado that we're watching.
Yeah, the awesome power of Mother Nature on display there. Well, after the break, Gary Archibald joins us with an update on the forecast as we head into Canada Day tomorrow. Still ahead, cricket continues to grow in Windsor-Essex, with organizers taking a first swing at starting a minor league to get kids in the game. CTV meteorologist Gary Archibald joining us now for a check of the forecast. And Gary, we've got this threat of rain bringing us into Canada Day.
You're right. Early pre-dawn showers are possible, about a 30 to 40% chance of an occurrence. We've been in and out of some showers, even some local thunderstorm activity across southern Ontario. Today was a warm day, slightly above seasonal by about 1 degree to 2 degrees between Windsor, Essex, and Chatham-Kent. Mostly cloudy through the afternoon, and you may have heard some rumbles of thunder early this morning. All due to this area of low pressure that's been rather scattered in nature in terms of its complexity. Some pockets actually look quite severe. Earlier this afternoon in and around the city of London, there was a Doppler indicated rotation, hence a tornado warning was put in place just to be on the safe side. And we'll wait and see what came of that. But right now, it looked like it stayed a severe thunderstorm without any major ramifications. Of course, through the overnight, we're still warm enough to see showers and nocturnal thunderstorms through the region. I think tomorrow morning, pre-dawn, between midnight and, say, 7 a.m., we'll get into some light rains just like we did this morning. And it looks like the severity of some of these cells that could bring us some of this rain could also bring some strong gusty winds. The next 6 to 8 hours, we'll see that activity, and then we'll get to the mid-morning where I think we'll see some sunshine, nice clearing for Canada Day morning into the early afternoon. More on that in just a moment. The overnight low is a mild one, looking at 20, possibly 21 degrees Celsius, about a 30, maybe to 40% chance of showers and or thunderstorm activity. The winds have picked up through the evening, and that will be the story for early tomorrow morning before sunrise as well. Take a look at our breakdown for tomorrow. Canada Day starts off with some sunshine, say about 30 to 40 kilometer per hour wind gusts at peak through 8, maybe 9 a.m., 23 degrees through the midday, showers and or thunderstorm potential, but mostly showers rule the afternoon. We'll see a high of 26 around 2 p.m., and at that juncture, it will feel like about 33. So happy Canada Day to you all. Showers persist for Wednesday, up to 29, then 30 degrees for a nice fair stretch. Thursday into 31, sunny. Friday, Saturday, 33. Could feel like 42, warming up. Sunday into Monday, cloudy. 31, then 27. Wherever you are, keep the umbrella handy for tomorrow into Wednesday, and note temperatures fluctuating as we usher in the month of July.
Gary, thank you. A good day on the markets. As you can see, the TSX climbed higher, 165 points higher, with broad-based gains right across the markets. You can see the Dow also up 276 points, the NASDAQ climbing 96. The Canadian dollar also up today, to rest at 73.30 cents U.S. Gold up more than $20 an ounce, and a 41-cent a barrel fall for oil.
Discussion here at Windsor City Hall.
Windsor's top stories.
A major project is about to get underway.
Breaking news alerts.
Severe weather is a possibility.
And watch live.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us.
Download the CTV News app.
Start your day with the latest local news. By signing up for our newsletter, you'll get direct local content straight from CTV Windsor to your inbox, including top stories, the forecast, and videos. You can sign up at ctvnewswindsor.ca.
Prime Minister Mark Carney has called the by-election that will give Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre a path back to Parliament. The former MP was ousted from his Ottawa area riding in the last federal election, but will get another shot to run in an Alberta riding after the Conservative MP there stepped down to make way for the leader. CTV's Colton Prale reports.
It's been exactly 9 weeks since election night when Pierre Poilievre stood in this building and told his supporters he would never give up fighting for them. But 24 hours later, it was clear if he wanted to continue that fight, he'd need a new seat in the House of Commons. Now we know when he might get it. In the wake of his election win, Mark Carney promised no political games around by-elections that could return Pierre Poilievre to the House of Commons, and sooner than required under election law. Today, the Prime Minister announced the vote in the Alberta riding of Battle River Crowfoot will take place Monday, August 18th, before parliamentarians return to the House of Commons in September. The riding in southern Alberta on the border of Saskatchewan is a Conservative stronghold.
Well, he has to run somewhere, and of course this riding is probably the most secure riding.
The area we're in is very Conservative, so it's probably better that it stays that way.
Damien Currick held the riding since 2019 before resigning his position earlier this month to give Poilievre a chance to win. and the chance is strong. Couric won the riding with nearly 83% of the vote and more than 46,000 ballots ahead of the second-place Liberal candidate. The Liberals have said Darcy Spady will run against Pierre Poilievre, and he'll be far from alone. The group behind a protest that led to 91 candidates running in his Carleton riding last time around say they're planning for an even bigger slate of candidates in the upcoming Alberta by-election. Colton Prale, CTV News, Ottawa.
Prince Edward has arrived in Toronto for the second stop of his Canadian tour. The Duke of Edinburgh visited the Toronto Police Marine Unit and then toured the HMCS York, a Naval Reserve Division. The Duke is the youngest brother of King Charles III. He is now scheduled to travel to Ottawa for Canada Day celebrations. A decades-old cough medicine could hold new hope in the fight against dementia. A new Canadian-led study is exploring whether a drug widely used in Europe could slow memory loss in people with Parkinson's disease. CTV's Rita Ismail reports.
Dementia is one of the biggest challenges in healthcare today, and for those with Parkinson's disease, the risk is even greater. Roughly half will develop dementia within a decade of their diagnosis. Now, researchers at Lawson Health Research Institute are looking at a surprising candidate to slow the decline. It's called Ambrexol, a common cough medicine used safely for decades in Europe. The year-long clinical trial published today in JAMA Neurology followed people living with Parkinson's disease dementia.
We randomized 55 patients to Ambrexol or a placebo for a year. We saw that patients on the placebo had worsening of psychiatric symptoms. We saw a small subgroup of patients have improvements in cognition. And we saw that patients on placebo had worsening of a particular brain enzyme in their blood called GFAP that we use as a proxy for neurodegeneration.
Ambrexol is not approved in Canada or the U.S., but it's long been used safely in Europe, even at high doses and during pregnancy.
All of our medications for cognition and Parkinson's disease right now treat the symptoms. They don't prevent the worsening of the underlying disease. And our hope is if we can identify people before they have symptoms, then we can give them a safe, easy-to-take medication which would prevent the development of these diseases.
Dr. Pasternak says he first learned about Ambrexol during a fellowship at Sick Kids Hospital, where the drug was used to treat Gaucher disease, a rare childhood disorder. He's now applying that knowledge to brain disease in adults, in hopes an old drug might offer new possibilities. Researchers say more studies are needed, but the findings mark a hopeful step toward a safe, affordable treatment that could change the outlook for thousands of Canadians. Rita Ismail, CTV News.
Pure Country 89, Windsor's country music station. Pure access to the biggest stars and the hottest songs. Download the free iHeartRadio app to listen to Pure Country everywhere.
About 20 players took a crack at the wickets in Windsor's first youth cricket tournament this weekend. Organizers are hoping to continue growing the sport in the region and set up its first youth league. Our CTV camera stopped by to catch the action.
There's a lot of tension and pressure because there's a lot of good rewards on the line.
Unfortunately, what it looks for our team, our team just lost right now, as you can see.
We kind of found out that there is always that little gap that doesn't get covered because we don't have a youth program league going on. So we came up with the BCCL Little League, where all these kids from our coaching academies, surrounding regions are coming in and playing.
When you win a match or when you hit sixes and then everybody starts clapping and you get congratulated for stuff like that.
Kids kind of feel like they're actually playing a very big league. We give out awards after every game. We do a little post-match presentation just like an international game.
It's been really fun playing with all these people and getting to know them really well. and just genuinely learning from everybody else.
Feels special, honestly. Like every time playing in the tournament, it's always fun to play and watch.
We're trying our best if it starts in fall, just a 1 month long league. If not, then definitely next year. Until then, we'll definitely host a bunch of these tournaments just to get the community together, get a good group.
Okay, Gary is back with his wrap of his 7-day forecast. And Gary, as you mentioned earlier, we're watching for those showers into Canada Day.
You know, I think the morning, a little damp. The afternoon, at times cloudy with some showers. The mid-morning towards noon, that's our nice break where we will be seeing some sunshine and fair weather clouds. So rain is still a possibility, and I can't rule it out again for Canada Day afternoon and evening. I know fireworks are going to be a big deal, but there's a possibility. Temperatures to 26 degrees. That's slightly below seasonal, but humidity will make it feel like 33. Showers Wednesday, and then sunny and warming up Thursday through Friday, Saturday, before we'll see some more clouds and possible rains to start next week, Sunday, into Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Yes, enjoy Canada Day, everyone, and have yourselves a good night.
Okay, Gary, thank you for that. Well, finally for us tonight, a reminder, the FIFA World Cup will be in Canada this time next year. And now the coveted Golden Trophy has officially been welcomed to Canada. Prime Minister Mark Carney posed for photos with young soccer players and fans during an event in the capital today as the trophy made its march. Toronto is hosting 6 World Cup matches kicking off June 12th, 2026. It'll feature Canada's men's national team in the first ever World Cup match in this country, which is going to be fantastic to see. I'm excited. That'll be great. That is our time this evening. Thank you so much for tuning in. A happy Canada Day to you. A reminder that we will not have a newscast either at 6 or 11 tomorrow, but we will return on Wednesday. I'm Ricardo, and for everyone here at CTV on both sides of the camera, have a great night.